One day before Halloween, um, and we're still playing the letter, trying to finish this horror visual novel. Um, and I like the game, you know. There's just some. It's just sometimes I feel like it's a little too long, certain parts of it, and then they like to repeat scenes when they really didn't have to. But the story is okay, you know. And then the scary parts are scary, except for last night. I mean, it was scary for like 10 seconds, and after that, it became frustrating. The QTE from last night. Uh, yeah, they messed that one up pretty bad because you should have been able to use the number keys on the right hand side of the keyboard instead of the one at the top row. Because someone like me, you know, when I type numbers using the keyboard, I always use the numbers on the right hand side, the number keys instead of the top row keys. And for them to actually limit it just to the top row keys, it was very, very difficult to do that QTE, and I didn't want to skip any. So, but all right, let's keep this going. We only have one day, but like I said last night, if I am unable to finish this by tomorrow, then we'll just continue playing it. We'll have to make sure that we finish this game, and it will still be done under the Gothtober setting theme. So until we get this done, but I have a feeling that we'll get this finished by tomorrow, because I think we're right near the end of the game. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, we hightail out of the building. Seb's sound asleep when we pass by his station. However, in the face of what we've seen, everything I've faced tonight, we really can't care less who will still see us on our way out. The sooner we get away from this place, the farther, the better. I'm not sure if that also means being safe, She almost got us, damn it. The fucking thing almost had us. Well, actually, she got us like 25 times last night. I, I remember being so frazzled by the whole thing. I could barely speak. I was just pissed off more than anything else. Shit, it was only by luck that we managed to get the fucking elevator unstuck. Had the blasted thing not worked in the last second, I need some fresh air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ. And of course Yoshi had to jump the exact moment I said that. Losing focus with another person here. I can't afford that right now. Isabella hasn't said anything, but I know she's more shaken than I am. Sweetheart, you gonna hang out with me, baby? Can't lose it when another person's depending on me.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I'm starting the engines and driving us off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. You need to go pee-pee? Go ahead. Good girl. Someplace I won't get trapped. Luxwan Park brings a welcome relief, though only by some. The chill that has seeped in my bones is still there, furling and unfurling underneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths. Just how many copies of the letter are out there? Isabella can't have the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be that the one she had shown us is only just one of 5? Maybe even more? That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous. But at this point, is it still? But the thing I don't understand is if they know that that's a curse, why didn't they pass it along to 5 people? You know? Isn't that how that usually works with chain letters? You're supposed to you send it to 5 people or whatever, however amount, and then the curse will be passed on. To think that people believe these things. All in all, we found 21 people who might have read the letter. 7 of them deceased, 8 if we count Cooper. All that's only with what we can find right now. We have no idea how the contractors and specialists hired from outside the company are doing, if we are in any way affected. How many people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still even blame the rights for this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a douchebag Luke Wright is. There's also that woman. How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Shit, still so many things we need to look into. Yet all my body wants to do is pace, burn out whatever excess energy there is in me.
Ashton, I'm getting dizzy. Will you sit down?
It's the first time Isabella said anything. She's been sitting quietly since we dropped here. It's better and less distracting than watching her nervous habits, though, I suppose. She certainly seemed calm now. Too calm, in fact, for someone who has just seen something terrible. But it's been more than a week for her already. People do get desensitized to things at some point. Even someone like Isabella. Who knows what's going on inside her head, though. Inside mine, there are too many and none of them would sit still.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Just shit.
Jesus shit.
Shit. Isabella, please tell me that wasn't...
What I'm not expecting when I turn to her is mirth, one that she could barely contain.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm not quite sure what she sees in my face, but in the next second, a laugh suddenly burst out of her. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's just that you should have seen the look on your face back there.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Right. Sure. I'm not the one who's panicked. You almost ripped my arm off.
Yeah, but...
Isabella, this isn't funny. We could have ended up dead.
What? He didn't say that woman almost got us?
I know. I'm really sorry. But this is just too precious to miss. You really lost your shit for a moment there.
You're trying to get back at me, aren't you?
Well, I'm not the one who kept calling someone scaredy cat for years. How does it feel?
I'm not scared.
Really? Because it doesn't seem that way to me. At all.
I'm not, alright? I just don't know what to do right now.
Immediately after, the moment passes, replaced by another tense silence. Laughter dies in her lips as everything sinks in. We're in deep shit. And has finally caught up and hit us like a ton of bricks. Hit me more than anyone. Because she has been warning us of this since day one, and I'm the first one who brushed it off. But she didn't really, insist on it, you know? She should have. Especially after the second time she saw the ghost. But she didn't. She kept it to herself. Despite that, she still reaches out to me, tugging at my sleeve, almost desperately. Her hands are trembling, and there's tremor in her voice when she speaks. Without the cheer, only fear remains. One that she has been burdened with from the beginning.
We're still going to do something about it. Right? Not just stand around and let that thing get us.
Okay, that's it, my love. Go relax. Now you can chill with me here if you want. Now you can come over here if you want, sweetheart. Not just stand around and let that thing get us. Oh, I'm sure I already said that. Unexpectedly, she leans her forehead against my arm and her grip on my sleeve tightens. She's not being scared, she's being horny right now. There's desperation in there, a quiet plea.
I don't want to lose anyone anymore, Ash.
I wish I could give her that promise, but with so many unknowns, so many things I don't understand about, how could I? Why she still trusts that I can do something about this baffles me. It all feels wholly undeserved, considering the way I've treated her. Yet, despite my reluctance, I find myself returning her hold in kind. A grasp, warm and light enough for comfort. Not a promise, but the closest thing to it. Oh no, darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coils around my limbs. Here we go. Soft footfalls echo from far distance, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There's only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. And this is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of consciousness from my eyes. The last remnants of unconsciousness? Oh, yeah. The early morning light already streams from the open windows. When the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus, Isabella's apartment. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She's hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head while she continues to rest. Then, to the chaos of papers and folders we've left scattered over it before sleep has claimed both of us. We bunkered down here last night after both our nerves have calmed down. Mine, for the most part, staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that woman. You mean Rebecca? Is she still one in the first place? Is she still one in the first place? One that we normally call a human? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck. I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about this still matters when all our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing daisies soon. I can't let that happen. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. At this, light against my hand when I reach for it. It has caught my eye the night before, but with the lot we still need to go through, I've simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned at the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
I've only ever heard her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She rarely goes about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It has been 5 years, after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversation between her and Zach to know she has never given up on it. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound, coming from a friend, I'd like to give her the chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring out what the deal with this curse is, I'll do so. If only to see that same smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moment she seems to show it is when she's asleep, like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. A smile of my own form, despite this when I glance at her sleeping form again. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it. Carefully, so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself off my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her off from the floor and over to her bed, but doesn't wake. Simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers I pull over her. Briefly, though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after. It hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movement earlier, but the small smile on her lips remain. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about our problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing I don't want to take away from her, a moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it after everything she has been put through, what I've been put through, what I've put her through. In the meantime, I still have two other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. Cold Luxborn air meets me upon stepping out the hallway. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxborn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky still clear, but I've given it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about awful rain for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. So he's been living here for his entire life and he didn't catch the British accent? That's just weird. At least something's still normal in the world when I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare, that's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem. I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness.
Fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What does Zach? What does Rebecca? Z-Man has mentioned dreaming about a woman. Whether it's the same one we've been seeing, I've yet to ask. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lacks in any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however, that thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it, too. She will go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some point to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this when there's 19% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. It's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. We'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking, once, twice, and 3 times just to make sure she has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situation, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute, concern has mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but rather face a wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up, I know
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy. So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
My hand pauses short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin their day. Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
But why would you even be upset with him? Because he lives there, and then if you're making a ruckus, you know. It's a weird train of thought there from Ash.
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks.
Oh my god. Oh, he is racist, you know that.
Well, what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of here.
He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the 4 walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so. But at least she's not alone. She should be safe, in theory. More so if the person she's meeting with is who I'm thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thoughts. To act brashly, to find out where she is going and go straight there. without deliberating on my action first. There's Zach to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. As if a phone call to the booth, to the to the both of them should do the trick. I'll erase my nerves. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason, I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on a group with only Zach's, Rebecca's, and Isabella's numbers listed. Who is Abigail? Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. Well, that's the best way to do it, I think. Keep your close friend circle small. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, bookmates from uni, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Yeah, because they just happen to be there living with you in that city. And one is obsessed with your dick. The other one is you have mutual attraction with. And then Zach, yeah, not sure what Zach's deal is. I guess he doesn't have anybody else. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. The heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. But isn't some helpless damsel in distress? She isn't some helpless damsel in distress, after all. She isn't the shy girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but that's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her talking anything head on. She'll do it instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring in the silence of the hallway. Its sounds alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2, 3. But when, on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Jesus. Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. It's alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Excuse me. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. Yeah, she wants your D. She's been my friend for the longest. Anyone else would have been fed up with me and left. See, I mean, she's been in the UK since he's been in the UK since he's like super young, and he doesn't have any British accent. Makes no fucking sense. The girl stuck with me, no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabella now too, of course. I'll be thankful for having them around. I think they didn't give him a British accent because he's Asian. Is that why? Over there in Britain, everybody speaks with a British accent. It doesn't matter what your race is. So there's something wrong with the casting with this game. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues, have too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor, mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct my frustration towards everyone else. Well, I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things. I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it, from my old friends back in my old school and the neighbors I've hung out with before moving, a habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was myself, wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was a selfish little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believed my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me, snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made me stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend, nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail. When on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay, at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational. It doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail, at least.
Hey, Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call.
He should have called the cops whenever he does that, so that he can be taken off the force. Because he's abusing his fucking privilege. Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten to charge it? Can't be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He just won't leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile is in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. And even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie, up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown. Thanks to him, he tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impression went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I'll call to a best friend, though it's more than that. A camaraderie no words can express. He has my back, and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having, only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet someone, no specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Becca will never just meet with Zach without any of you guys. Regardless, I continue dialing for his phone another 3 times like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the 3rd attempt with no one answering, I stop and cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
After that close call, Ashton spent the night at Isabella's, only to be kept awake by nightmares. At an utter loss and with all of his beliefs overturned, Ashton decided to check on Zachary and Rebecca. Unfortunately, neither returned his calls. So Rebecca survived her attack at the library, and Zach didn't. He got attacked in prison, in jail. I think he died. We'll see, though. I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dasher on Luxbourne and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only 2 people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair of either of them. Jesus, with one last frustrated glance towards the open sky, I slipped back into Isabella's apartment and slammed the door behind me. Was that necessary? I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. You can't just gently close the door. More so when it's the people you care about.
Ash, did you really have to shut it like that?
Yeah, exactly. Get on that motherfucker. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this, standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, and has become a common sight after the three of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. I thought they haven't done that in a while. I thought that was the thing at the beginning of the game. That they haven't done things together for like 3 months or something because everyone's been busy. Rebecca prefers it that way, healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me? I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy, a strange fit with all the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on a question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Oh no, hold on. Okay, I didn't skip anything, thankfully. Yeah, careful with that tab fucking key. I'll add in a quip or two for her if the timing for a joke isn't off, and doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to, yet. Until I've received an answer from Rebecca or Zach, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. the ones I've been keeping at bay, freezing them from the cage I've built around them, so I won't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness, even more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on, so many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess? Damn it. I haven't felt this kind of bone-wear exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca, Zach,
It's
Isabella.
all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease on her eyebrows grow deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then, the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hand. I touch, she suddenly slips her hand inside my pants. The scent reaches me first, before I've gotten the chance to take in what she just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. What the fuck is that? Calming, comforting. Despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. Though, from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzle on top? She tells me my tastes are weird. Yet here she is, handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her away. She offers no immediate answer. She simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. As a background noise, the voices from it seems too cheerful. A welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she has finished off half of her bowl that she acknowledged the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips apart, then closes. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet, sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat.
You gonna tell me what it is?
Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried.
You mean Mama and Papa? Mama and Papa.
So eat. You'll need it.
She returns, and she still hasn't explained what it is that she's feeding you. She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hand, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will it do? Zach and Rebecca's both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams, we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present, we have a chance at respite. Maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us quietly, just sitting side by side like this without exchanging my words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella's never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope. Whether I'll allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me. Since you're not telling me what it is, it might be poop with milk on top, so I'm not hungry.
Thanks, but I just don't really have the appetite right now. Maybe later.
I'm so evil. Briefly, she appears about to argue, her lips parting for a moment, followed by her shoulders tensing. Although just as quickly as the expression flashes across her features, it disappears. She closes her mouth, and with a reluctant shift in her seat, she returns to her food. I think it's rude that she doesn't, that she didn't explain to him what exactly it is that she's giving him. So, when you want to offer food and it's strange, you at least have to give an explanation. But then he needs to ask her what it is. I think he did, though, didn't he? He said, no, he was wondering to himself what it was, but he didn't ask. So they're both at fault, but yeah, I wouldn't eat that. It looked nasty, so. Almost gone now, while the air around us changes to something filled to the brim with unspoken tension. I mean, you can always go to McDonald's after. Isabella doesn't look displeased, but disappointment clearly radiates from her posture. Thankfully, it doesn't last too long. After leaving their friends an urgent message, Ashton returned to Isabella's apartment. He found the girl already up and about, cooking. Seeing his exhaustion, Isabella reminded that he should take care of himself first and offered him food. With reluctance, he declined, insisting he's not hungry. Yeah, look at that. I don't know what that shit is. No thanks.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City. Baggers want chat? Can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude. Pretty fine for an Asian guy. Sup,
Jesus.
I'm Ash from Deluxe
Before
City.
regret forces an
Baggers want
apology
chat?
up my throat,
Can't beat me.
my ringtone
Looking for
shatters
trouble?
through the
Better
tense
not
air.
lie. I'm a
Just as
cool
fast,
dude.
both
Pretty
our
fine
attention
for an
shifts
Asian
towards
guy.
the source.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Rather
Baggers
than
want
let
chat? Can't beat me.
things get more
Looking for
awkward
trouble?
fast, I stand up
Better
and
not
leave the
lie.
room while
I'm a
muttering
cool
some
dude.
flimsy excuse to
Pretty
answer the
fine for an
phone.
Asian
Sorry, let me just take this call. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Saved by the bell. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges up in my throat. The person on the other side of the line isn't who I'm expecting.
Right, yeah, that's right. It's Officer Reds over at the precinct. Bring me donuts to keep an eye out, beer and shit.
Oh, yeah, right, Renz. What's up? You've, never called me through this line before. Is this something urgent?
Yeah, kinda. Something came up this morning. You know the big guy? Your, buddy? Big guy. Around 6 feet tall.
Zach?
I don't feel too good about this.
Yeah, him. Zachary Steele, I think.
What about him?
He's been detained.
Wait, what?
What do you mean he's been detained?
They brought him in this morning.
That's not what I asked. What are the charges?
I don't know. Not my division. I'm not really supposed to be on the phone right now, but what you want to know. Anyway, I gotta go. If you want to see him, just drop by. I'm sure how that'll work, though. The chief has a standing order not to let you into the precinct until Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. I'll bring you some coffee to go with those donuts, too, next time.
The call ends with a click, while I'm left here reeling, staring blankly at my phone. It's just my luck that in this exact moment, Isabella chooses to peek out from her apartment.
Was that Zach? Is he gonna drop by?
I have no idea how I look right now, but it must be far from anything pleasant. The curious expression on Isabella's face quickly melts away as soon as she chances a closer glance at me.
What's wrong, Ash?
I'm left with no other choice then. I tell her exactly as Officer Renz had said, and the more I spill, the more grim her countenance becomes.
Stay here. I'll go check on him. See what I can do.
No, I'll go with you.
Belle, I'm not going in there for a casual visit. Zach's in trouble and...
I know, but he's not the kind of person who'd do something that'll land him in prison. There must be a mistake.
Believe me, I'm on the same page as you, but...
I want to see him, alright?
And there it is again. Again, the same sharp gleam that has been present in her eyes since yesterday. Little by little, I'm finding it difficult to say no to it. What other choice do I have to... Still no word on Rebecca and Zach. Isabella probably doesn't want to be the one who ends up waiting for the news. I know exactly how that feels. So in the end, a nod's the simplest response I can give.
Just let me turn off everything. I'll be out in a few.
Quickly, she disappears behind the door. From inside, the sound of her foot shuffling, a few locks clicking shut, and the television being turned off drifts out the hallway. The whole business inside takes only a few minutes, and within 5, we're both on our way to LPD. Gotta give Yoshi a treat. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Whoa, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wee, woo, woo. Wow, 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 wee. Woo, woo, wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wee, woo, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wee. Oh, so sweet yet so sour. That don't you something that is delicious. But can baby like you. Okay. You want something like this? Well, you know the deal, little child. You're gonna be soft. Come here. Come here. Over here. Soft. Oh. Oh, I know too much hair. Huh? Okay. Sit. Good kiss. Good kiss. Give me a kiss. Good kiss. That's a bit tease. Sorry, baby. I have lipstick on. So you can't give me a real kiss. That's good enough, okay? Good girl. I'll open this door for you. At least we know where Zach is. That explains why he's not answering his phone. But what the hell did you do, Zach? He said he had a plan that might help. But if it got him into enough trouble to get himself in a cell... I don't think I like that plan of his. And hell yeah, I'm mad. I'm absolutely furious. It's just like as Isabella said, I doubt Zach will get himself arrested because of an actual crime. But whatever stupid stunt he pulled to get there isn't any better. The only good thing today so far is the fact that the streets are nearly empty so early on a Saturday morning. Very few pedestrians and virtually no other car on the road to get in the way of us rushing to the precinct. Within the speed limit, of course. A whirlwind of activity welcomes us as soon as we waltz into LPD HQ. Fellow officers running here and there, pushing around paperwork and answering calls. It's almost Halloween and troublemakers are abound. Calls about pranks gone wrong make up most of it this time of the year, along with the occasional altercation of missing dog. Some of the other officers who work with me look up from their desks and wave, though none of them moves to stop us like I'm expecting. Standing order, my ass. It probably didn't last a whole day. Although I'd like to have a chat with them sooner or later about official matters, I'm not here for them right now. Of course, it never hurts to see what they have for me, and the best person to ask for details in this precinct is the guy behind the booking window. You're all done? Good girl. I opened the door over there, baby. Go ahead. Want to go and put the pee out there? Go ahead. I have the door open. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go pee pee after. Go ahead. Go pee pee after that. The other door. Go ahead. Where you go? I don't want you to be in the house here. Go pee pee. Go ahead. He glances up at me once I approach and immediately returns to his task, indifferent. Not that I need his full attention. As long as he talks, I'm good. Next to me, Isabella stands wordlessly, clearly uncomfortable, waiting in anticipation from how close she's sticking to me. That's probably because she's been in the same position so many times in her life. Her drunkard brother, the eldest, a repeat offender. Mostly minor cases, but she had to be the one to bail them out every time, from what I've gathered. I can't imagine what's going on inside her head now that it has happened to a close friend. Hearing the way these guys talk about him must be worse.
Hey, I heard there's a new guy in the holding cells.
Not many here know Zach, and if they've seen him, they don't pay too much attention. I try to keep my work and personal life as far away from each other as I possibly can. Are you back, sweetheart? Give me a sec, okay? Stay right there. Each one of them is quick to chat, gossip, be the one to talk about the new detainee, and have everyone's attention.
News flies fast, huh? They just brought him in this morning.
Any info on him?
Got his ass handed by some rich bloke's bodyguard. Or butler, whatever. When we got to the scene, he's already been strung up and ready for pickup. Hard to imagine how a guy like him could have been taken down. But the butler has this creepy air to him. I'd rather not ask. Feel sorry for the bloke. He could have fought back.
That's because Zach wouldn't hurt a fly.
All said under her breath, but her grip on her bag grows rigid. Unlike me, she's not frustrated at Zach. That ire is directed at the person who put our friend in this predicament. It's true, though. Zach's not the kind of person, and knowing he might be in a bad state, whatever little anger I built for him on the way here dissolves into thin air.
Has he been booked yet?
No, still sleeping. Creepy butler probably hit him
Oh,
hard.
he's dead, which is a good thing. If they slip up and forget, we get him a writ of habeas corpus and take him out of there, depending on what he's actually being charged with. But at the same time, it's bad. How long is he going to be unconscious?
Your friend was caught on right property, and you better believe I'm not happy about this. Not one bit.
Uh-oh. I want to say that there must be some sort of misunderstanding. Zach isn't the type to do such a thing unless it was his plan all along. In that case, I could have just charged blindly into this without all the details, no matter how much I want to believe my friend's innocence. And Wright? Luke Wright? What on earth was Zach thinking? In any case, it doesn't look like Chief is happy, even if I don't protest and give him a salute. Not pleased at all if the fact that he grabs me and pulls me aside is any indication. If I were to describe his expression, he looks ready to kill me.
I swear, Frey, if you're behind this, if you told Steele to sort the rights because you were taken off the case,
I'm not stupid enough to ignore chain of command and go against official orders. Give me some credit, Chief.
And you better be sure you didn't. Luke Wright is coming here, and we both know he's trouble. I'd consider your friend lucky if he only gets charges put against him. Maybe if we can make sure he's in a good mood, he won't escalate the situation. Hell, maybe we'll have a bloody miracle and Steele only gets a slap on the wrist, but Lord knows it's unlikely with that man.
You know him well, Chief.
An observation, not an accusation. But it might as well be with how things panned out from the night of the housewarming party to the morning that followed. His wife's familiar with them too. Who's to say that friendship hasn't colored the investigation into Luke Wright? I don't want to accuse my superior, but damn it, he makes it difficult.
Of course I have to, shouldn't you? We've been looking into the guy for so long. I'd call you a bad detective if you can't even tell me whether he's right or left-handed.
That's an easy one. He's left-handed, but he's been taught to use his right.
Dang.
You can tell when he picks something up with his left hand, but when he realizes that, he moves it to the right.
Well, at least I don't have to question your ability. Anyway, if I were you, I'd either go and make myself scarce or sit down and shut up. Don't go aggravating people, basically, because you have a knack for that at the worst of times.
As much as I hate to say it, but he's right. It's better to keep my mouth shut and not make things worse for Zach. There's not much to do now but hope for the best. They don't call for investigation when it comes to petty felonies. Worst case scenario, he's looking at a fine worth £5,000 and 6 months in jail. Jesus, that's quite a bit. Best case scenario, we get the charges bumped down to trespassing, a misdemeanor, and juvenile offense. Juvenile. And he'll be given probation and will be charged for restitution. At this point, those seem to be the most likely outcome. No, the most likely outcome is actually death. I don't see how he could have been framed for breaking and entering, unless he was taken into somebody's property against his will. Even in my head, that sounds unlikely.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I think I'm a delight to be around.
Tell that to my blood pressure pills. Anyway, let me handle him, alright?
Right on cue, the moment Chief says that, you know who arrives. And like the arrogant show-off that he is, he makes sure his arrival is well noticed by everyone within the immediate vicinity. Behind me, Isabella gasps. She has no idea how much of a trash his previous client is. Now she's going to get a frontline view of it. The guy ignores the front desk even when Benjamin tries to greet him. He just blows past him, walks in all high and mighty as if he owns the place. Meanwhile, that creepy butler of his trails behind like a tame dog on its leash. It doesn't help either that the other officers stop whatever it is they're doing and stare. Whether it's out of suspicion, curiosity, or judging by some of their starstruck looks, awe. They should quit it, get back to work, and stop giving the man the attention he's obviously seeking.
I'm here to report a crime.
Of course, why else would you be here? You're either reporting something or being put behind bars, you imbecile. I'm going to...
Calm down, Ashton. No need to rile myself up. I need to calm down. Not for him, not for himself, not for Zach. It's already difficult holding back when his face looks like it could use a good right hook. Better to just let the chief handle him. Sure enough, he's the first to walk up to him, bearing a smile too friendly for comfort, looking at them like this makes me sick to my stomach. It's easy to know there's something up underneath the guise of keeping up appearances.
I'll be happy to assist you with that, Mr. Wright. You'll have to issue your statements as victim and witness. We'll have to determine probable cause and properly file a criminal complaint. Of course, you understand.
Oh, I understand, though I don't see why you can't file that thing yourself. The cause is obvious, isn't it? He was breaking into my home in order to pilfer my belongings.
Well, we'll still need that police report. The prosecutor will be the one to determine what charges you can legally file against the accused.
Reports and prosecutors, why should we law-abiding citizens suffer through all that? Thugs like him should be kept off the streets. I mean, it's so obvious who these people are, you can practically spot them.
Wait, hold up. Is this guy for real? Can he hear himself? He's not saying that. I'm not saying what I think he's saying, I hope.
We come here to our country, take advantage of our wealth and generosity, while we proper Brits work hard and pay our taxes. All the while they break our laws and ruin our civilized community. Trash like these should be kept contained. These uneducated...
Now, Mr. Wright. I know you're upset about what happened, but perhaps we should move to my office.
Of course. The sooner we can deal with the petty criminal, the better.
Can't believe the audacity of this guy. Did he really think himself better just because he was born
I
rich?
swear they should just ship these peasants back to where they came from. They're all criminals. It can't be helped. It's in their genes.
Despite myself, in spite of every restraint that placed on me, upon hearing those words, I can't help but open my mouth. Chief's warning be damned. Which one? Well, we don't want to assault him, so I just call him out. This is my friend he's fucking shitting on.
They're all criminals? It's in their genes? Come here and say that to my face, you bastard!
Ash, don't.
I realized my mistake only after a whispered plea reached my ears. Isabella's fingers dig deep through the fabric of my jacket as she tries to hold me back. True, I should have put myself out on the spotlight like that, but this fucking guy.
Oh, and who is this loud young man?
He glances at me like I'm a flea, a pest. But it's more disgusting how fast his expression changes once he spots Isabella behind me. Recognition flashes in his eyes the moment his attention turns to her.
I do recognize little Lily over there, though. Hello, long time no see. Is Pipsqueak your friend?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. He didn't...
Don't apologize to him! He doesn't deserve it! I can't believe you're all just listening to his shit!
You have to calm down, Ash.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
Frey, stand down! I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. Luke, you have to excuse him. He's under a lot of stress. Just got removed from a case and the man is an acquaintance, you see.
But I'm not taking any of my words back because he is an utter bastard. From the way he stares at Isabella to what he has done to Zack, it all reeks of the rot that is Luke fucking right. But see, he's making an assumption there. He doesn't know what Zack really did, you know, as much as he knows his friend. You never know, you know, some people are weird. And Zack did do something wrong. He did break into the house. He shouldn't have. Even after so many years, nothing has changed. He's still the same slimeball who does everything to get what he wants.
The thief is a friend of a cop? Now that is the start of a joke if I've ever heard one. A thief and a cop walk into a bar.
He's not a thief!
And yet we found him trespassing on my property. There are eyewitnesses, and his grubby prints are probably all over my pristine walls as he was breaking in. Face the facts, little policeman. You've made the wrong sorts of friends.
He's not a criminal!
And that is the truth. But with the way everyone is looking at me right now, this must have been how Isabella felt when we won't believe her about the letter. Just the thought of that leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. And here she is, caught in the middle of this fight I've started.
Isabella, tell him! You know Zack. He's not the kind of person who'd do this shit!
So, yeah, he's a really horrible policeman, isn't he? Like, so we're gonna do what? We're gonna do, character witness, hearsay. You know, let's get the facts straight first, Ashton. He's not a smart person. He's not a good cop.
Ash, we both know that. But yelling at him won't help Zack at all. Please.
Calm yourself, Frey. Unless you want me to throw you in a cell myself.
I understand you're upset that your friend is locked up, but the law is the law. And don't you worry, I won't be pressing charges against you. I don't know what charge, but I'm sure I can think of something if I need to. Do put a leash on your boyfriend, Lily. He might hurt himself. Being that angry can't be that good for his health.
I'm livid. Yeah, you're an idiot. Hey, this hasn't happened yet. Oh, an LPD officer informed Ashton of Zachary's detention. Immediately, he rushed to the precinct with Isabella, where they met Luke Wright, there to file charges against Zack. When the detective confronted him, he was immediately ordered to stand down. Isabella, however, she's gonna do something stupid herself. Fist clenched and jaw tight, I'm nearly ready to just sock this guy good and make do on that promise of a right hook. My frustration about it all must have shown, because only now do I realize that aside from Isabella, the other officers also jumped in to hold me back. All this time, they don't let me go. Not until I've put a good distance away between me and this scumbag. And it's awkward going on from there. The precinct is quiet, though the usual hustle and bustle of activity stayed. Everybody's making considered effort to shut their mouths about the whole scene. I wish they made the same effort to keep themselves from staring at me, though. Well, you did that to yourself. They all want to talk about what just happened. But at the same time, they don't want to acknowledge that it did happen and refuse to even make eye contact with me. All of it changes in the next second, though. It doesn't even register to me until it has already occurred. Before I have the chance to leave, ready to march out of the precinct still angry and frustrated, all of a sudden Isabella, who's been standing close to me not a second ago, grabs a half-full glass of water off one of the officer's tables and dumps the entirety of its content on scumbag. And the expression on her? It's nothing so short of seething.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Afterwards, she slams the drinking glass down on the table with a loud thud. With the whole precinct still, the sounds it creates echoes thickly along the walls, almost deafening. In the face of her temper, nobody dares to move. But she doesn't give me time to relish the disbelief in Wright's face. She marches towards me soon after, and before I can even say anything, she grabs me by the wrist and drags me out of the precinct. Honestly, I've never seen something so satisfying in my life. I might as well be grinning from ear to ear if I weren't feeling so pissed at a lot of things right now. Still would have loved to sock the bastard myself. A few minutes later, finds the two of us sitting in a mutual silence inside my car. With the two of us in a mood, thanks to one specific scumbag, it's better to keep our opinions to ourselves, lest we lash out at each other. Let it melt away on its own. How long until then? Can't tell. Zach's still in lockup and I wasn't able to do a damn thing past getting angry and almost socking the living daylight out of scumbag. Really, I just want to hit something, damn it. I almost envy Isabella for having the guts to throw water at him. But as amazing as it is to watch, she still shouldn't have done that. This is right we're talking about. No matter how much he hits on any woman he sees on the street, the moment you piss him off, you better watch your back. It might have just been water, but she'll be living in the same city as him. Who knows when they'll meet again. He's just bunked up over at Anslem. I shudder to think how he could easily make her life hell with just a flick of his finger. It doesn't help that the thought of that alone adds a whole new level of irritation atop the disappointment, anger, and outrage. And in my frustration, I slam a hard fist down the steering wheel. Oddly, it's what finally piques a reaction from her.
You know what? You would have ended up in an even bigger problem if you did hit him.
You threw water at him.
It won't leave a mark, though. He'll live. The only thing I ruined is his expensive suit.
Still the same thing.
And you acting like this isn't helping Zach at all.
Really? Blame is the last thing I want to hear right now, especially with the stunt she pulled. She means well, but... And what about the stunt you pulled, you idiot? But anger clouds a lot of things. Sometimes I just can't help but sprinkle my own answers with the same heat. What do you even know? What are we arguing about here? Talking about his idiotic move. Okay, just say I know, damn it. Yeah, because you're being stupid.
I know, damn it!
Somehow admitting that out loud feels like a release in itself. Oh, it's a plus. Now they're ready to fuck. As if a dam has been opened, every pent-up frustration spills from my mouth before stopping myself occurs to me.
Seriously, it's one bad thing after another. First I get kicked off my own case, now Zach's in jail, and still no word from Rebecca. To top it all off, there's a ghost, a damn ghost of all bloody things, going after us. Everything's such a clusterfuck.
Without any warning, she gives my forehead a hard flick. A sense of deja vu hits me. The pain is fleeting, but enough to stop my tirade. I pressed that too fast though, let me see.
Everything's such a clusterfuck. Ow!
Ow! She appears completely unamused when I glance at her. There's no trace of anger in her eyes, though. Even lacks the sharpness Rebecca has when scolding someone. Hers is softer, but doesn't fail to nail the disappointed mother look. All at once, regret replaces the annoyance.
You don't have to act so pissy all the time, you know?
Exactly. Well, she's right about that, at least.
Not everything's gonna go your way. That's something you'll have to live with. That's just how it is.
Easy to say, but the moment everything goes south...
Well, that's why we're here, right? It doesn't always have to be just you. You'll miss a lot of things in life, the good things, if you keep thinking like that. If my mama were here, you'd get a scolding.
She throws a quick smile my way and turns her attention back to the window. Her gesture leaves no room for an argument. With some introspection, plenty. The whole thing did serve to help clear my head. And just like that, somehow everything doesn't look too bleak anymore. Isabella has always had that effect on people. Gratitude and apology almost form in my lips. Though before the words even fall, my phone rings, effectively cutting through the conversation. A quick glance at the call ID shows Rebecca's name blinking on the screen. Beside me, Isabella stares, waiting.
It's Becca. I'll tell her to meet us at Salemwell as soon as she can. Excuse me.
Without another word, I slip out of the car and answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Are you there?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Well, Zach's in a bit of a tight spot right now.
Define tight spot in this context, Ash.
I'll tell you about it later. There's nothing we can do about it now. Where are you, by the way?
Oh my. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. It's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. We'll meet you there. This is... related to that.
Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, she insisted to come with me.
With a quick press of a button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step closer to the window on Isabella's side. I hold out the phone towards her, giving it 2 shakes, urging it to speak. She's still carrying a curious look on her face. It's already bordering on worried, actually. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hey, Belle, what's happening over there? Is there something I should be worried about?
Becca, it's Zach! He's...
We'll tell you once we get there. It's not something we should discuss over the phone.
I don't like the sound of that. Oh.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But, alright. Please, hurry.
Gotcha. Give us a few minutes.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left something strained in the air. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. The drive back to Salemwell only takes a matter of minutes. We find her pacing in front of Isabella's room, hands clasped tightly in front of her as she treads the small space offered by the hallway. The second she looks up, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but...
He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
No burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive, but unloved. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. There's still that problem with Zach, but the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction. The younger woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a careful observation, nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual, hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more onto her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling in the slight limp she has, noticeable once Isabella leads us into her apartment. It all sprouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that, but she never gives me a chance to bring it up. The second we're seated in the tiny living room, she gets straight to the point and asks about Zach. Typical Rebecca.
Alright, no more suspense. What happened to Zachary? And I don't want the two of you to mince words. Tell everything as it is.
Hair is the same.
They arrested him, Becca.
Arrested? As in the police?
Yeah. Ashton just heard about it this morning.
Her eyes quickly zero in on me, and at the raise of her eyebrow in question. I quickly fill her in on what happened, from the moment I've gotten the news down to the very person at the root of this trouble. The very person she's been friendly with from the start. She falters the second I drop the scumbag's name, disbelief all over her features.
Are you sure it's him? This must be a mistake.
Yep, quite sure it's the bastard we saw at the precinct, in all his pompous glory.
What was Zachary even doing in the mansion?
Exactly.
Breaking and entering? Are you kidding me? I know Zachary can look a bit intimidating at first glance, but he's not the kind of person who will do those things.
That's exactly what we told the police. They won't listen. Apparently they caught him in the act.
Sorry. It's turned into an ASMR stream.
Of course they won't. They're up against Wright's smug face, for fuck's sake. He's the one who has the money.
There must be something we can do to help him.
I'm still up for kicking his ass if anyone's asking.
Not that.
Please.
Anything but that.
Oh, come on, you threw water at him. At least let me score.
We need something that'll help Zach. If you really want to hurt something, go punch the wall or your face.
Yeah, punch your own face, you motherfucker.
I'll talk to him.
Immediately, all the banter in the room stops and we both turn to her.
Talk to who?
Luke, I'm sure he'll see reason.
She wastes no time. Ignoring her limp, she gathers her things and stands up, ready to leave. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there's an injury. Seems like it at first, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least, although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation. They have a nasty way of staying hidden. But that possible injury is the least of my problems right now, not when she's likely planning a march into the Armor Guard mansion just to talk to the guy. And I have a slew of opinions about that plan. No, that's fine, you know, she talked to him before, so do you really think he'll
Do
listen?
you really think he'll listen to reason?
Oh, it's a minus.
We won't know until we try, will we?
I just don't see why she thinks this is a good idea. She was at the party. She saw how the man acted when put on a damn spotlight that shines on everything negative about him.
Becca, believe me. He's not the kind of person who will. The only thing he'll listen to is the sound of his own voice.
You mean like you?
I've spoken to the guy, Ash. He can be difficult, but he's not as unreasonable as you think. Did it ever occur to you that maybe, just maybe, this might be some sort of misunderstanding?
He just filed a case against Zach this morning.
Well, I'll make him take it back.
It's not as simple as you think. That man believes what he's doing is right.
What do you want me to do then? Just stand around and wait for some miracle that'll get Zach out of that cell?
No, I want you to leave it to me and let me handle this.
You're not the only one who can do things here, Ash. Quit playing the dumb hero, you're not. You should be thankful someone's even trying to help. This is like that bloody letter again. You kept ignoring people's warnings, and now that we're probably in deep shite, you're taking it all on yourself. Why can't you be glad that people are trying to help you out?
How? By running blindly into things?
She's
All I
not
want
running
is for you to be
blindly into
careful.
things.
I know what I'm getting into, Ashton.
That arm injury and the limp tell a completely different story. Please tell me you did not just do something dangerous today.
It was just a trip to the library.
And why are they not telling each other what happened? You know, the only two people who have like knowledge that an acknowledgement about the creepy ghost is Ashton and Isabella. I mean, they need to communicate what happened at the real estate office, and then ask Rebecca to tell them what happened at the library.
Besides she caught me off guard. What? Did you think I went looking for her with a book in hand? I'm not stupid, Ash. And I'm not just going to stand around while my friend's in jail. I won't let that bloody ghost do whatever she wants to us either.
Oh, now they're talking about the ghost, but the way she explains it is like,
If you can't accept that, feel free to stay the way you are.
She pauses, anger briefly subsiding, then quietly.
You're lucky no one has died yet.
Zach is gone.
You're the one who kept brushing all of this cursed thing off. In fact, you're the one who dismissed Isabella first.
The last one feels like a slap in the face, really. I mean, you dismissed her too. Rebecca has a knack for being brutally honest with her opinions. We've often clashed at times, yet I respect her for it. Her opinion is as valuable as every other person's I've let into my life, and this time she's right. I've made a huge mistake. But damn it, I'm trying.
And you didn't? Back at the movie house, you were agreeing with me.
Becca, Ash, that's enough! Please. It's not his fault. Not anyone's.
Everyone's still safe. Alive. We can still get Zach out. It's not too late. There's other stuff we should be focusing on. So please, just stop. Both of you.
She still should have ran. That woman's not something she can hit with a book. Same thing goes with Wright.
Believe me, Ashton, I did. Then a bloody cart came out of nowhere. Do you have any idea how painful being hit with one is? But you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. I would be dead.
A sobering silence descends in the room. Instantly, both our anger have been tempered as the gravity of that one word hits the three of us. To Ashton and Isabella's relief, Rebecca later called back. They found her at Salem Well, looking worse for wear. But upon learning of Zachary's situation, she decided to confront Luke Wright, an idea Ashton vehemently opposed. Fortunately, before it brewed into a fight, Isabella stepped in. Dead. Another close call, another would have, another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through with the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about. But no more fighting, okay? If one of you starts another round of it, I'm going to drag the two of you out by your ears.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once that we found last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we brushed off, carefully ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Our own encounters with the woman, Rebecca's close brushes with death, every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us, everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Yet even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we've still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheet of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must
be something in this we aren't seeing yet. Ash, please. Zach wouldn't want us to give up on this.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling her every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little optimism right now, I guess. Too bad Z-Man's better at it than me.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper right before the open house. No one was allowed inside that place for a time that day. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? But how does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
there's something more to this.
What do you mean?
Becca makes a vague gesture at the papers she brought, then crosses her arm and leans back on her seat to glare at it. The way she's staring at it, you'll think she wants to set the entire stack on fire.
Apparently, there was some stuff that people haven't been telling us.
You mean our own teachers have been lying to us all this time?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrows with each line it passes, but lingers at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revisiting what's written seem a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. There's still a gap. A huge one. Even with the information we currently still have now, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Armangard mansion. Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I... The mansion's private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. After what he did to Zach, not gonna happen over my dead body. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us. And damn it, I hope Zach's safe where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it will. And it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting. We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few. Oh shit. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room. And amidst the sudden hush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. In her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
We have everything. We should just.
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop at a slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they all hurtle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever inside has to stop trashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. I glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. In the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swing the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back at Rebecca and Isabella, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. You two, we need to... Ah!
I sense sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. There it is. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain wrecks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. The moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then, I sense that cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Oh my god, perhaps it's just inexperience. Or perhaps my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, my whole body just freezes. The gun in hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, most murderers, who never regretted their action despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in there and then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails as she fills the room with. Within a span of seconds, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrists of the first person my hand can reach, and leading the two out of the mount. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Okay, we're gonna stop here. With the help of his remaining friends, Ashton tried to find a way to free themselves of the curse, piercing together what they currently know, to no avail. Exhausted, he excused himself for some fresh air, but not before a ruckus coming from Isabella's closet broke the silence of the room. Okay. Alright, so I'll be back later today. 5 p.m. Unless something happens. Yeah, that was fun. That was last 2 hours actually have been pretty good. because we didn't get to parts that, you know, we didn't have to repeat parts from the previous characters. So, all right, be back later.